Our topic today, how's it going, everybody? First of all, yes,
That's
the entrepreneur, I can't say the word, entrepreneur mindset, turning failures into learning opportunities. Ooh, this is going to be an exciting one, huh, Mark? What do you think?
definitely. Yeah, so turning failures into learning opportunities. So where was it that you used something like that? What do you think of? Like I have quite a few actually I can think of right now, but you have something in mind?
Yeah, actually, I do. I think it goes back to, I don't remember. See, I think this was 2017 or so. It might have been 2016. So me and Jennifer, I had started my e-commerce business at that time, and I was, we started it. At that time, I was doing part-time. I had a full-time job at W2, and I was doing that on the side. Well, eventually, what happened is we went on and me and Jennifer started scaling it and we both went full time with it. And we did that for quite a few years. And there were so many mistakes that we made. Our learning experience, I don't want to say mistakes, learning experiences that we, learned on that journey. Um, but it was one of those things that we learned. The big takeaway, I guess, is what I'm trying to get on that point on this is that I didn't know how to run a business at that time. I was just kind of trying to do everything by myself, didn't understand anything. Um, that was one of my big things there. Um, I was saying like looking back at it because we eventually moved on from it, but looking back at that particular moment, um, learning that how do I go with this? Trying to word it in the right way here. So now that I understand more about business and me and Jennifer, like we're running her bookkeeping business, right? All the mistakes that we made from that particular thing, but it was such a learning experience on that business. And it was a good business that we learned on. I'm glad that we had it because of all the learning that we learned from like all the mistakes that we made and we learned from them has really taught us now on what we're doing with Jennifer's business and what not to do. So that was one of the big things I think for me that's really helped me out.
So it taught you a lot about business because I guess your previous failures, you took action and that helped you and Jennifer to now the present, right? Learning more about businesses and how to manage and organize it. So it taught you a lot. So those failures taught you all the opportunities that you have now.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to like what you said. We took action. We had a business. It was running good. It was successful. And then, but yeah, we made those mistakes along the way. And looking back, if I had to go back, I'd redo everything, a lot of things, right? Change a lot of things in that particular moment. But it was such a great learning experience. Like I don't want to go back and redo it again because it was such a great learning experience on everything that I learned in that business. Um, because sometimes we can read things out of a book and think that we know everything, but until you actually go out and you actually experience how to do something like that, like then that's when you're really actually learning and making those mistakes and learning from them, learning what not to do.
Yeah, what is like, can you mention one thing about the business that you failed, that you turned like those failures into opportunity? Like what was like name one thing, at least one thing that became an opportunity. What was that one thing that you learned that in business that helped you?
The one, yeah, that's a great question. Because the one thing I think that was big for me that we learned from that business is that um, we really isolated ourselves and we were trying to just run the business and try to stay focused and do everything by ourselves and trying to learn everything by ourselves. And the one thing that we learned that was really big that really helped us change now is actually going out and networking and finding somebody that's done it, like a mentor, right? Picking people's brains about what they're doing in their business and learning. And that's something that we've really applied to Jennifer's business now is that we went out and we learn from other people that are doing it at a higher level than us, and we're taking those things and putting it into her business and growing it out, right? That was something I wasn't doing when we had that business, that particular business. I wasn't doing that. We were just staying by ourselves and staying isolated and thinking that we were doing the right thing. And I think that's the most important thing that we learned out of it is find somebody who's done it and, ask them questions, pick their brain about what they're doing in their business.
Awesome. I love that. Like for me, it was like for the marketing, marketing agency.
Yeah.
So in that business, like what I was doing years ago was I was doing advertising for contractors, right?
Mhm.
So I would find contractors like on Facebook groups and, message all of them. And I think one time I got blocked from Facebook for doing that, but then I got back in. So there was like a lot of failures that went along, but I learned communication skills, how to communicate with the contractors,
Yeah.
how to, give them like an offer what I can do for them. And I was super new. I don't know anything about it. I just was trying things out, and I was making ads. I'm like, I'm not really too familiar with making ads, but I'm sure I can figure it out, right?
Yeah.
So I was learning about ads. I was like reading stuff, reading books, going through all this like YouTube stuff, and then I got a course, and that course taught me like how to do a Facebook ad, how to run it, how to look at the numbers, why does it make sense, and so again, I made a lot of failures. I spent a lot of money on ads until I learned how to make them correctly and how to like, that's when I got the course, right? And I was studying more about it. But even then, like, I will close a couple deals here and there, a couple sales, and I started like learning about, hey, I have to like what I learned is like there's a lot of things I learned, but I'll say a few things. One
Yeah.
is um getting the right client, the right contract, the right client who you're gonna help market to, right? Like, if you're gonna help them make ads or whatever, or as a marketing agency, you have to know if they're a good fit for you. Also, if you're a good fit for them as well.
Yeah.
So having those right clients is what I learned, and that will prevent failures. That will prevent problems such as, oh, the contract doesn't go on time, it's not there on time, or he doesn't even contact the customer, or there's no communication well. Obviously I wouldn't want a client like that, right? I want a client who is able to at least be nice to the customer, be on time, because that's like that's part of reputation,
Yeah.
um also, what can I do for the contractor, right? Okay, make Facebook ads. Okay, that's one thing. Um, but the thing is, I feel like, you know, once I started asking clients more questions, I started to figure out what more I could do for them. Like have a platform for them, have a system in place, have a place where they can communicate with all their customers, have advertisement on top of that, have procedures and like SOPs and just procedures in place so that way everything looks organized. So my failures back then of things just starting it out and learning the skills and learning a few things, it taught me to the stuff that I already know now. And now I'm doing things differently where I am vetting my clients better. I am having them have a platform so that way they can stay organized. I'm creating workflows and automations for them, right? So that
Yeah.
way it's helping them when they don't answer. So creating a system for them as well on top of advertisement because that's what they need. Because just because someone makes ads and they give you clients, well, where is it all going to go, right? Where are you going to keep track of it? It's not the whole pen and paper thing, a pen and paper that gets lost, you'll forget about it. So back then it was different. Back then it was more like, hey, here's a customer, and it's me like, hey, did you call him? Did you text him? How was the estimate? And then after that, follow up with the contractor, reminding him to go, you know, do another like reach out to the customer again. But like if I feel like I was wearing all the hats, I feel like I was doing a lot of things which I didn't have to. So I said a lot of things there where learning to pick the right client, learning if they're a right fit for you, and vice versa. Learning having a system in place for them and why. How does that help them?
Yeah.
And all these things that I learned, and all because of my failures that I had back then. Back then
Yeah.
I lost a lot of money. I lost probably like 2 grand. I lost a lot of money, but at the same time, I closed some sales. Well, the contractor did, so that kind of balanced things out, which is good. And it taught me a lot. It taught me communication. It taught me how to talk to the contractors. It taught me what do I need? What system do I need? in place? What can I do better? So all these things, all these failures led to opportunities to what is now. Now is I have a platform. I have workflows made for them. I have automation made for them. I can do Facebook ads for them. I know how it works. Also, I'm part of a community as well that I'm always learning something on how to improve and get better to do better thing for the contractors. That way they can scale, helping small businesses so they can scale. And so it just all these opportunities that I have now, it's amazing. And then I'm also scheduling calls with other people who are doing this too. So that way I can, grow my network and
Yeah.
learn more about it. Like just those failures from back then gave me opportunities now. And now I have a different mindset where I'm thinking like, okay, I have more opportunity now thanks to my failures based on knowledge that I learned. And on top of that, now I'm also networking with other marketing agencies who are doing the same thing. And we all helping each other. Like, hey, Mark, you should do something like this. Or hey, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Maybe this will work. And so now I'm thinking outside the box. Like I'm also thinking now about SEO. I didn't know how I could do SEO, but now I can do that for my clients because of what I learned from the community that I have now. Again, networking. So it's like it's leveling up over and over again. And now the time frame, I want to mention that too. So keep in mind, doing this ad for contractor for any client, this was like, I don't know, I would say maybe what, 3 years ago or something? Like this was 3 years ago. And
It's been
those
a long journey.
failures,
Yeah. Long
yeah,
journey.
and look, it's a long journey. And then
Yeah.
I didn't I didn't quit. I just took a pause on it, and then I was in, that's when I was getting into real estate around there, right? Um, but I didn't like quit. I just took a pause to it, and I have all my stuff saved so that way I can refresh my memory. And then it wasn't until like recent, like this year, where someone needed help, and that's when I started doing it again. And next thing you know, I was like, okay, this is what's gonna happen. And I believe during that around that moment is when also I had like like lunch and dinner with with you and Jennifer.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's like it just clicked in my mind. I was like, okay, I think I have to do this.
Yeah.
And one
I
thing led
remember
to
that
another.
conversation because Jennifer told you, she goes, yeah, you should do it again, Mark. And you're like, maybe I will.
Yeah, and then it happened. So I'm glad that I drove over there and we talked about it. It was cool. I'll do it again.
That's funny that you said how long that journey took and like how you made those mistakes and kind of like set you up to what you're doing now. And I really like to tell this story. So this goes back to when and I'm gonna, because it kind of builds off of what you're teaching, what you just said there. It was back when I used to do metal shaping, and I worked for a company, and they sent us all down to Texas to go do metal shaping class, right? And one of the guys that was teaching the class, his name was Christian, right? And I remember him talking. He's one of the best metal shapers around too, right? He's a great metal shaper in what he does. Um, and the one cool thing that he was teaching us there is, growing up, and I want to point this out because growing up, when we go to school, right, they're always teaching you in school, don't make like mistakes are bad, right? It's always trying to, reframe your mind or relearn those things that it's okay to make mistakes. They're good things. That means you're learning, right? And one of the things that he was teaching us is like when he was trying to learn something new on how to shape, a gas tank or whatever, right? He would spend hours and hours trying to shape something. And he couldn't get it right. And he would have a pile, he said, of just all these all these pieces that he messed up on, right? And then finally he would get it. But he spent all that time making all those mistakes, but he finally got it right. And he learned from those mistakes. Each time he got better. Each time he said, I would bend the metal this way and it was wrong. And then, but he learned from those mistakes. And the reason why I was saying that is now he also knows, maybe he's working on another project. He said, like he was saying, hey, I remember when I was trying to make the gas tank this certain way. I was trying this and it didn't work. But hey, right now, that technique that I learned or that I was trying to do, it was the wrong way at the time, is now the right way. It's just something that I learned. Like mistakes are good. You learn from them. And later on, They pay off.
Yeah, I love that. And I would
Yeah.
say like I love failures. I love making mistakes because I learn from them and I
Yep.
know I am separating myself from everyone else. Like I'm not doing what society does, like, oh, you fell and then okay, you just quit. You know, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be like society. I want to be different. I want to grow. I want to make mistakes. I want to learn from them and get
Yeah.
better at it. And then my mistakes, my failures, my story can be also shared with others and
Yep.
that can help out. You know, it's like you're passing that on to someone else. Because even for us, like our mentors, our teachers that we've learned from, they've been through failures and mistakes as
Yeah.
well. And because they've been through it, they're teaching us, and then it cuts our learning curve in half, you know? So like that's why I love that. Like that's you will one day be a teacher, you know, or a mentor or a coach, you know. You'll be there one day. So take advantage of now, like of the journey, enjoying the journey. It's not about the destination, just
Yeah.
enjoying the journey, enjoying everyone that you met, your entire mistakes, enjoying it. And then that way you can share your story. You'll have those stories to tell others, and then you will inspire others, you know? Um, like I've had, you know, I have several people that inspire me, you know?
Yeah.
Like there's a friend of mine in San Antonio, his name is Maverick, and what's his nickname? But yeah, Maverick, you know, he's inspired me. Like at that moment, like I remember when I was super new, I would ask him questions over the phone, text, or even in person. Because I was at an event and I was like the worker and I was the one just, you know, organizing it, you know, whatever people needs.
Yeah.
I was that person there. Um, and there were like a lot of speakers, so obviously I would bring them water or whatever they need or books or whatever, stuff to write down. And I was the worker. So when I was there, I met, you know, Maverick and I learned from him a lot and he inspired me. And that was amazing. Like I love that he inspired me, and now that I can do the same thing for others as well, because I get the same answers, the same responses. Like, oh, Mark, you know, you've helped me so much, you've inspired me, you know, and I love that. I feel like I was just like, wow, I remember because I used to be like that. I remember that
Yep.
feeling of when someone inspired me, and now I'm doing the same to someone else. Like that's it's a great feeling. I think that's pretty cool. Like that's why like turning like those failures, mistakes into opportunities, like we see why that's important. It's all involves mindset, right? The entrepreneur mindset. It's just to keep growing, keep scaling. Um, and I love that. So yeah, you know, like I look forward to learning more things and I look forward to us growing and learning more things too. Like it's amazing. I love it. I love all the relationships that I have. Like it's priceless. And I would do it all over again.
Yeah. I mean,
So
just to
yeah.
kind of wrap it up here, one thing I want to say before we go, I know I'm sure you have a final thought. Um, I think, looking back, sometimes I look back and say, well, man, I made so many mistakes. I shouldn't have done this, shouldn't have done that. But at the time, I thought they were the right mistakes or the right things to do, right? And I don't want to take those back because all what happened back then is what it's made me now. And I think it's important to understand that and embrace those mistakes and learn from them and move forward and keep falling forward, right? I mean, that's my last kind of thought on that. Do you got any last thoughts, Mark?
Just last thoughts. I would say is you know a book that I recommend is obviously I'm sure many you know people heard of this one, Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Oh, of course.
Definitely highly recommend the book because it's
Yes.
opened up my mind a lot of things in the very beginning. That one, and then the second one is The Lies That We Believe by Chris Thurman.
Hmm.
The reason why I mentioned that one as well is because I want to. He's a psychologist, so he talks a lot about his patients, his mind, and it involves mindset too, right? Of what you believe, and so I guess those two books helped me out in the very beginning and it would just open your mind more to more things. And then sooner or later, you're gonna want to pick up other books, and then read different authors and like start learning more about mindset and business.
Yep.
So I feel like that's what helped me. That's what helped me a lot in the very beginning. That led me to read other books and listen to all the audiobooks as well. Um, and that's it. Last thing I would say is just something that Denzel Washington would say that have said before in one of his events is if you don't fail, you're not even trying.
Yep. I love that one. Love it. I think we should end it right there with that one. That was good.
Yeah, awesome.
All
Well,
right.
that's it for today. Again, thanks guys for listening and follow us on Instagram, and subscribe as well. And for more notifications, just make sure you ring that bell in the bottom right. Other than that, that's pretty much it. And have a blessed one.
Peace.
Peace.